Three friends decided to explore an abandoned house nearby just for fun. While searching through it, they found a strange bottle of juice sitting in the middle of the floor. It was perfectly clean, even though everything else in the house was dusty and filthy. Two of them wanted to drink it immediately, but the third friend panicked. He said, "Someone has to be living here. Why would there be clean juice in an abandoned house? We need to leave." His friend replied, "No, trust me, no one's here, and this isn't normal juice, it's magical." Yesterday, while I was walking home from school, an old man stopped me and said there's a magical drink hidden in this abandoned house. Whoever drinks it becomes a genius and smarter than everyone else. And I'm sorry I didn't tell you at first, but this is why I asked you to come here with me. He looked at them and said, "Think about it. We could be better than everyone in school." Suddenly, one of them grabbed the bottle and drank it. The others followed. Seconds later, their stomachs began growling. Their heads started spinning. Then everything went black. They collapsed unconscious onto the floor. A man walked into the room and started laughing. It was the same old man. He began tying their hands and feet, then started dragging them away. But suddenly, someone struck him from behind and knocked him out. It was Benji. He hadn't drunk the juice. When he saw his friends collapse, he had tried to call for help, but there was no signal. So when he heard footsteps coming, he pretended to be unconscious. After knocking the man out, he dragged his friends outside and called for help. The police arrived and rescued them all. A new teacher joined the school. He was perfect. Funny, smart, and kind. Everyone loved him instantly. But then, strange things started happening. He knew students' secrets they had never told anyone. He knew which girl's parents were divorcing, which boy wet the bed, which student was stealing lunch money. Everyone thought he was psychic, until one student followed him after school and saw him breaking into a house. He called the police immediately. When they searched the teacher's apartment, they found hundreds of files, photos, family records, medical history, private journals. He had been stalking every student for months before ever becoming their teacher. He didn't know their secrets because he was psychic. He knew because he had been watching them. My dad dropped me off at the neighbor's house and said he'd be back soon. I told him, "Dad, I left my iPad in the car." He slapped me in the face, then stared at me angrily. I felt humiliated. Everyone there had seen it. I kept thinking, they're all laughing at me in their heads. Then suddenly, someone knocked on the door. It was the police. My neighbor was standing behind them, pointing directly at me. My heart dropped. The officer said, "Come with us." I instantly burst into tears. I looked at my neighbor and begged, "I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Please forgive me." My neighbor looked confused. The officer knelt down and said, "You're not in trouble, just come with us." I was terrified. I kept trying to think what I had done wrong, but my neighbor hadn't called the police because of me. She called because she saw what my father did, and that day, they arrested him. Someone hit me hard in the street. I woke up in a dark room. My hands and feet were tied to a chair. I screamed for help. No one came. There were no sounds outside, no cars, no voices. It felt like I was in the middle of nowhere. I tried to untie my hands. Nothing worked. Then I threw myself to the floor, hoping I could loosen the ropes, but I only ended up lying there in a painful position. Suddenly, the door opened. A man walked in carrying a tray of food. He set it on the floor and untied my hands. Then he said, "You need to eat. Your body needs it." I stared at him and asked, "Who are you? Why did you kidnap me?" He replied, "You'll understand soon." Then he pointed at the food. "Eat. I'll be back. And don't try to escape." As soon as he left, I refused to touch the food. I wasn't sure it was safe. Instead, I searched the room for a way out. That's when I noticed something strange. Several lines were scratched into the wall, as if someone had been counting the days. The door opened again. The same man stepped inside. He looked angry. "I'm trying to save your life, and you're not cooperating," I shouted. "You knocked me out and tied me to a chair, and now you say you're helping me?" He took a deep breath. "I didn't want to kidnap you. I rescued you from the real kidnapper." My heart started pounding. "What do you mean?" He stepped closer. "The real kidnapper is someone else." I was terrified. I screamed, "Help! Please, let me go! I want to go home!" Suddenly, someone struck him from behind. He collapsed to the floor. I looked up and felt a wave of relief. "You came to save me! Thank you!" The stranger laughed. Then he said he was telling the truth. He wasn't the real kidnapper. I froze, and before I could react, everything went black. The intruder broke into the house while carrying a knife. The family froze as he moved closer. They weren't alone. Their dog, Poncho, jumped in front of them, fighting him off while the family ran to safety. He took some damage, but refused to back down and scared the intruder away before collapsing to the ground. Now he was rushed to the animal hospital, and they had to perform CPR fast. But when his owner called him a good boy, he suddenly stood up, and she gave him the biggest hug. Every night at exactly midnight, my stepmother gave my father a strange pill, and minutes later, he collapsed into bed like he was dead. No movement, no response. One night, I heard her whisper, "Just a little longer." That was it. I knew she was poisoning him. So the next night, I secretly switched the pills. At midnight, she gave him the fake one, but instead of collapsing, my father suddenly began choking. He crashed to the floor. My stepmother screamed and called an ambulance. At the hospital, the doctor looked at me and said, "If he missed that medication, he could have died." I froze. The pills weren't poison. My father woke up and admitted something shocking. He had begged her to keep the illness secret from me because doctors said he might not live much longer. My stepmother wasn't trying to kill him. She was the one keeping him alive. That night, for the first time, I hugged her. A boy found a lost dog outside his house. Around its neck was a note, "Please keep him safe." He took the dog inside. At first, it seemed normal, but every night, the dog scratched at the same wall for hours. The family thought it was strange. Then one night, the dog barked wildly and clawed so hard it broke through the drywall. Behind it was a hidden room. Inside were chains, bloody clothes, and human bones. The family panicked and called police. Detectives arrived and searched the house. They discovered the previous owner had kidnapped multiple victims there years ago. Everyone thought the nightmare was over until the dog started growling again. And this time, it started scratching the floor. Police dug it up and found another body, but this one was fresh, very fresh. Then they realized something horrifying. The previous owner had been in prison for 10 years, which meant someone else had been using the room recently, and they were still out there. A group of top students received invitations to a secret scholarship exam. It promised full scholarships to anyone smart enough to pass. When they arrived, they were escorted into a large testing room. Then the doors locked behind them. At first, the questions were normal. Math, science, history. Then suddenly the screen changed. Which student here would you sacrifice to save yourself? Everyone froze. The questions became darker. Who here is mentally weakest? Who would betray the others first? Who deserves to die first? Panic spread across the room. One student tried breaking the door. It wouldn't open. Another started crying. Then gas filled the room. Everyone passed out. When they woke up, half the students were gone. A man in a suit entered and said, "Congratulations, you were never taking a scholarship exam. This was a behavioral test." He explained they were being selected for a classified military intelligence program. The students who failed had already been removed. One girl asked where they were taken. The man smiled and said, "To the disposal wing." Then armed guards entered, and the real test began. I woke up chained to a bed in a locked cabin deep in the woods. An old man stood over me holding a shotgun. He said, "If I let you out, the monster will hear you." The night before, I had gotten lost in the forest. My phone died. I wandered for hours until I saw a light in the distance. An old man opened the door and let me inside. He gave me food and told me to stay absolutely quiet. I thought he was crazy. So while he was asleep, I tried to escape. The moment I stepped outside, I heard something huge moving between the trees. Branches snapped. Heavy footsteps circled the cabin, and then I saw two glowing eyes in the darkness. I ran back inside. The old man slammed the door shut and chained me to the bed. I screamed and demanded to know what was happening. He pointed to deep claw marks carved into the walls. Then he showed me dozens of tally marks scratched beside the bed. Each one represented a person he had tried to save. None of them survived. That night, the creature returned. It slammed into the cabin so hard the windows shook. The old man loaded his shotgun and handed me a knife. Then he said, "It doesn't want me." He looked straight into my eyes. "It followed you here." The walls began to crack. The front door burst open, and in the moonlight, I finally saw what had been hunting me through the forest. 4 friends were having a sleepover when one of them dared the others to spend 1 hour alone in the basement. Everyone laughed until they opened the basement door. It was freezing cold, pitch black, and smelled like something rotten. One boy finally accepted the dare. The others locked the door behind him and started the timer. At first, nothing happened, but after a few minutes, he heard scratching coming from inside the walls, then whispering, then banging. He screamed for them to let him out, but they thought he was joking. Suddenly, the banging got louder, and part of the wall broke open. A filthy man crawled out of the hole. He had been living inside the walls for years. The kids upstairs heard the screams and opened the basement door. The man charged at them, but the father heard the chaos, ran downstairs, and shot him before he could escape. The police later discovered the previous homeowner had secretly kept his missing brother chained inside the basement walls, and he had escaped years ago.